Yeah, that element of reintegration, particularly for the male rituals, where there was a violent and sort of warlike training that seems to have gone on, where they may have also been sort of part of a kind of a territorial militia or defense force. I've read things to that effect where they may have been raiding other communities, as part of their training. But there is that reintegration where you learn to balance um, those warlike instincts and those abilities with um, peace and with membership in the community that makes you fit for fatherhood, for leadership, for any other social role that you might have, where you have to have impulse control. You have to be able to moderate your capacity for violence, but you also want to be a proven resource in terms of being able to help provide for the community, defend the community. You want to have a community of peers that sort of recognizes those abilities through shared stories, through shared experience. That reintegration is something that I think we lack right now, like the storytelling and the meaning behind initiation. Like like I said, I think in a lot of our cultures, there are still these sort of degraded rites of passage. Like when I was young, driving, having any sort of like first sexual relationship, that was like a rite of passage. Doing illegal or risky things, like there was a certain age where all of my male peers, we all were doing pretty pretty bad things, and then it stopped. But it's sort of like there was no meaning behind it. There was nothing to take up that experience and be like, oh, now you've learned something from this. We are now there was no narrative sort of story behind coming back to the community in that sense. There was no storytelling behind it. There was no myth. And I think it's in some sense the actual rites or rituals are kind of the easy part. It's the when I think more about it, it's like the deeper meaning and behind the ability to integrate it and to have it be something that you can use an example or look back on in your own experience and have it be a meaningful story about the entire life process. That seems to be lacking in our modern society quite a bit.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. And I think you're right with that, with the myth and story part, because I mean, even though, like, yeah, you can just do it in some sense, and there's something to it, like even in like the I guess the degraded modern form, but the story, yeah, that's definitely, but that's kind of also then in that sense a cultural thing in of itself, these kind of stories. Because if you look at a lot of these tribes, and if you also look at, like, for instance, these like different and I think I heard something in like a shamanism group that I'm in, something up from Mongolia, I think it was, where the shamans would preside over a lot of these kind of rituals, and their stories, and that what they would tell would be like, oh, quite known in the community already, and they would narrate kind of from these different rituals, what they're doing, and the narration, and the storytelling, but also I guess in other traditions, like with for instance the Norse, but and different Scandinavian cultures, for instance, it's like the poetry, and these kind of songs um, are an important aspect of that too, because it yeah, it adds another layer of meaning on it, where otherwise it's maybe like, yeah, maybe it's again like connected to this alignment. Maybe it's like the story brings something like the something like together in that sense, that engages like the brain in a fuller sense, maybe.
Maybe it also has to do with like people relaying what they have learned through these stories, through these songs, through this folklore and art, and that cultural identity helps a lot, I guess, with the initiations into the next phase, because then you have examples of it more to kind of get context from, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Now you're saying that, I don't know, was something. I think that's something Jung had said about like how in these initiation rituals, like a totem or like a clan symbol or some symbol is very important too. He was talking about like different, I think it was Native American tribes that had like different like animals as symbols for that they were kind of like initiation symbol. Like you're now like I don't know, like the sons of the coyote or something, or like the raven, or like different like symbolism like that. Like Egypt has like the sons of the sun, of the sun god, and that kind of like symbolism behind it. But there seems to be like, yeah, this totem and this identity indeed connected to it too, and that's kind of, I kind of feel like another thing that's kind of missing too, and maybe like that's kind of that like, I guess this lack of identity is then also kind of linked to this kind of type of rituals at the same time, because it kind of like I guess initiates the people within a particular context to the tribe in a way that's, I guess, more integrated and more like has like these different like I guess warrior drives, but also like the peaceful side in check. Like how the old Romans had like, they had like outside of Rome was the territory of Mars. Inside of Rome was the territory of Quirinus. One was warfare and one was connected to like domestic things and peace. For the entire episode, please check out the description or click on the end screen. And maybe see you next time.